Welcome to program Pulse and Dance. I'm Valentina Kozlova, founder of VKDF and VKIBC. And let's get started.
I'm Valentina Kozlova in Pulse and Dance, and today I have incredible pleasure. I can't say to reunite, but it was big surprise to see the oldest and best friend in the West, or specifically in the United States, who came to visit me here. And all night long we sat yesterday and talked about how we met, and we know each other over 40 years, and it was such incredible night, sit and talk, going back and assess what's going on in the world, in the dance world specifically. And I'm glad to say that we are still connected like sisters. So here's my best friend Diane Hakak. For all those years, she's visiting me, and my big question to you: what do you remember, and how do you remember all events at that time and what followed up?
Oh my goodness. It's been like, let's say, less than a week ago. I was going through my diaries in my attic trying to clean up. And the first one I stumbled on, and I opened up the first page. And that was August 3rd, 1979. That was when our biggest, longest friendship ever started. That was the first day you did the opening of the Stone Flower. That was the first time I saw you. And that is a big memory for me. I was so happy to actually see that little note, because I knew we met in 1979, but I couldn't remember the date. And that was the first time I saw you perform on stage the Stone Flower, prima ballerina. That was amazing. I was there with my friend Magda, who's also a ballerina. We both graduated at the Bolshoi. We had a big, long course together. And we were in class with Leonid Kozlov. So after the performance, we went at the exit where all the artists come out at Lincoln Center to meet my friend Leonid Kozlov, and this is where I was introduced to my wonderful friend Valentina Kozlova. After the Bolshoi performance ended, the company went on for a whole week in Chicago. And once again, we hear on the news that there is a Bolshoi Ballet defector, and that was Godunov. I was also in class together. We graduated the same year in Moscow. And the company went on to California, to Los Angeles, to perform 2 weeks. And I think it was the last day of the performance. I was at home watching television in New York with my mom, and all of a sudden they interrupt the movie we were watching. They announced 2 more defectors from the Bolshoi Ballet Company. And my mother right away said, "Oh, those are your friends, the Kozlovs." I said, "No, Ma, no way. They would have told me something." She said, "But they did. They gave you their ballet slippers and the pointe shoes. That was a big sign for you. You should have understood that." And well, anyway, 2 days later, I think it was 4 o'clock in the morning, and Leonid calls me and says, "What now?" I said, "Well, you come to New York, I'll meet you at the airport." And this is how it all started. I met them at the airport. They stayed with me for a few months. And from the very first day, it was nonstop. In those days, we had to drive to the subway. We would take the subway, go all the way to Manhattan, and classes and rehearsals started nonstop, 7 days a week. And this was an amazing experience. And from then on, then they became big stars.
In the West, but interesting thing that you shared with Leonid. I only met you, but you shared with Leonid exactly the same training. You were under Sulamif Messerer,
Yes.
the most famous female before her teaching time. She was a big dancer, and then she became incredible teacher and coach, and produced all those big stars that we knew.
Yes.
And so there was so much in common. Plus, you were close friends with Leonid, and
Yeah.
I don't know if it's out of nowhere, but I felt like we had incredible, somewhere unexplainable connection between you and myself, and we always called ourselves as the sisters, or, although we are not related, but I think spiritually, emotionally, we are very much related. You speak Russian. You were also our translator as well, and you were one of the first ones to basically to teach the rules and regulations and how this life unfolds in the U.S.,
Yeah.
which was big shock for us, and this whole thing happened. Do you remember our time in Australia?
My goodness, how can I ever forget? That was such a wonderful experience. It was, I think it was it 1981 or 82? I don't remember exactly. And yeah, I met you in Australia. You were choreographing the Nutcracker, and I was there with you. Remember giving company classes, helping you with the rehearsals, and then watching all the performances, and you danced a lot. I remember besides the Nutcracker itself, I stayed on a little bit longer. It was an amazing experience and wonderful memories, and I think this is where we started bonding even more and more and more, and this it's not just a friendship, but it is a very strong like family tie that you and I have. It's very, very strong, deep emotional feelings, and throughout the years, and it just grows stronger.
But you know, it's interesting that the most I remember from Australia, really late in the evening, I would say 8, 9 p.m.,
Yeah.
you and I were sitting on the floor of Australian Ballet studio with piece of paper and a pen, and I was saying to you, Diane, so corps de ballet of walls, there's a 5 on this side, 5 on this side, so they are going this way. Can you just get up and can you show it to me so I can draw?
Yeah.
And then I was taking your place, and that's how Waltz of Flowers was choreographed, basically, with you and me sitting alone,
Alone, yeah.
almost in the darkest studio at the time. And Leonid came in and said, girls, what are you doing here? We have to go home.
Time to go. Yes, time to go to sleep.
Yeah, time to go. No, but we have to for tomorrow. We have to choreograph. It was quite incredible.
Yeah, we used to stay up so late at night and talking like, yeah. It was almost right to tell us at 2 o'clock in the morning, time to go to sleep.
We still do. Last night
still
we
do.
still until 3, like recalling. It was so incredible that you and I, we made a telephone call to Leonid, who resides in Aruba right now. And between 3 of us, we spoke like it was 40 years ago, giggling
Yeah.
like young kids
Yeah.
and laughing.
Yeah.
Where at the end he said, okay, little girls, you should go to bed. And we said, okay, little boy, you too.
The same thing. The
same thing.
Yeah, 40 years later or more.
Yeah, years goes by, but we are young
Yeah.
in our spirit.
Yes. It doesn't
So
change.
many things happened in your life, quite exciting. Many things happened in my life, particular, also exciting. And you're one of our judges in VKIBC.
Oh, yeah.
And we will introduce you not only a director of your own little a school which you produce young dancers to think even right in balletic sense, but you also incredible educator of Vaganova method. And yesterday we talked about actually going to Anna Pavlova days, which was beginning of 20th century. And as a matter of fact, that yes, of course, she studied in Russian, under Legat and few other teachers and choreographers, and eventually Petipa really loved her because she was so unique. She didn't have this muscular female body. She was very lean. Her feet were very kind of weak in a way, and her teachers, they told her that she has to keep her personalities. And then shortly she was with Diaghilev, that's what we discussed, and then she created her own company, and you started to talk to me about this, and then memories, and of course history came back. And the interesting thing, Vaganova created her method officially, I believe, in 1934. That's when her book came. But even at Pavlova's time, which we're talking 1905 and going further, the method in Imperial Russian School was used Romantic French vocabulary and method and interpretation, and also Chiketi, which is a huge athletic technique, but with Russian passion, and Russian being even sentimental, melancholic, dramatic, and that's what Anna Pavlova presented before actually in reality Vaganova method was created, because in her own time in the West, especially in London and the United States, that she started to introduce. But you reminded me of that because we talk about Vaganova method. What do you think about Vaganova method, which is introduced here, and is there any changes? What's your feeling? What's going on since you came where I came from?
Well, exactly where you came from, where I came from, was really the pure Vaganova method in those years, uh, and where a lot of attention in coordination was given from day one at school. The coordination which gives this beautiful fluidity and coordination of every part of the body, and from the arm, the hand, the eyes, the fingers, even the eyelashes, that helps you portray the emotion of the movement. It is instilled in students from day one. Nothing ever changes. The only thing that changes throughout the years is gaining speed and strength, and of course then you develop all the wonderful fundamentals from day one that are shown as an artist, and you see the artistry. It is being portrayed with that part of the body that it involves everything, from the feeling that comes out from your emotions, from your heart, and moves all the way out. And I believe that this doesn't seem to be so important anymore. I see it changing. It is no longer stressed in the same way that it used to be. Like in the old days, or in those days, you would see a dancer perform and you would go, "Ah, this was so beautiful." Now it is, "Oh, that was fantastic." Somebody that is really becoming very athletic and very strong and is able to perform very difficult, intricate steps, but it doesn't have the same exact beauty, in my opinion, where your breath is going to be taken away by watching it. That is where I see that there is a very big difference. And people are still mesmerized by that beauty, that when they will see it, they're going to see the difference. And it's rare, you don't see it as much anymore. One other thing with the Vaganova method that is really notable, it really saves people from injuries. The way the teaching goes through from the toes all the way up to the eyelashes, the coordination is so good and is so introduced in a certain way that it prevents to have injuries. for a dancer is not exposed since childhood to have so many injuries. Nowadays, you see young kids, I have pains here, pains there. This never happened. I don't ever remember going through this, not myself or any of my colleagues. This I really don't remember. This is where I see the big difference in those two parts. One thing is nowadays young dancers, children have injuries. We never did that. We never had these problems. And on the other hand, you see performers where they can show their emotions and their feelings that comes from within from the heart. They're able to express. This is what human nature has done from ever and ever. Through the dance, people show their emotions and their feelings. And in order to be able to portray emotions and feelings, you have to involve every part of your body. And this is where it is taught, that use it by using certain forms. So you move in the same beauty. You transfer from one motion to another motion in elegance and beauty. And that's not easy to do.